look, you teach all of us, and I think you did a great job. But often I wonder, does this guy really know what a deal is? And as I have become quite an incredible fix and flip lender slash commercial real estate lender, and I have a deal that I wanted you to look at, and you tell us if you think it's a deal or not. Forgive me again, I'm on my phone, so I want to see if I can flip over to the picture that I wanted. Are you seeing? Oh, sorry, I left Tinder open.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean that. Hold on a second.
There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. People always say, Kris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Entrepreneurs in Finance, where we interview the lives of graduates and lenders alike. And this is a very special episode because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't even know what this is about. I got pulled in here, and all of a sudden I got 4 graduates staring at me in front of, staring at me at this monitor. They kind of all pulled together and wanted to ask me questions. And this is a very special episode because it is the 25th episode this year. And as you can see behind me, it is a festive episode. And so I don't even know what to expect. I guess let me introduce everybody here, right? And you guys all look devious. And I said before that I'm scared because you guys kind of have these, frowns on you right now. So without further ado, let me introduce everybody that's on this panel. First, let me go to I'll introduce Ben Looney. Ben Looney, which is at the top of my square here that I have. Ben, former state trooper turned finance entrepreneur turned superstar. Ben Looney, what's going on, man?
Not much. How are you doing?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Everything's good.
You look a little nervous.
I am a little nervous, particularly because you're on here and you were an investigator. So that's got to go easy on the questions. So that's Ben Looney. Kimmpy Humphreys. Hey, Kimmy.
Hey, how are you?
How do you feel about being like the only woman on this call with a bunch of frat boys?
Like this.
Okay. And let's see. And we have Shane Brandt. Hey, Shane.
Hey, Kris.
How you doing?
Doing amazing. Thank you.
A stranger to us all here, Tim Maloney.
Yeah, best for last. That's smart thinking.
Tim Maloney. And last but not least is one of my guys, Scotty D, Scott D. who we all can't see because he doesn't have his pants on.
It's planned this way. It's Friday.
All right. Well, you guys will see some type of quirky image we're going to throw up there after this. It's all done. So I don't even know who to go to. Like I said, I don't even know what to expect of this. So we're just kind of freelancing here.
Yeah. So this is an episode called Flip the Script, where everybody here who's already been on the podcast is going to put you, Kris, in the hot seat, and they're going to ask you the hard-hitting questions. And we're going to start with Mr. Shane Brandt today.
Okay,
yeah, well,
you're up, man.
I'm ready, and I'm gonna go more a personal question as opposed to a business question. And I was told this is not necessarily a PG-13 type of podcast sometimes. So if we need to put a beep in here, we can. But tell me, or tell the audience, if you would, how did you come up with hashtag fuck you pay me?
Jesus.
Started early on you, Kris.
You know what? I knew I'd be walking into this. Well, listen, I'm in the finance business, right? I'm in the finance business, particularly the alternative finance business. And what better slogan that when you lend money out, and I'm Italian. I guess, you know, so there's a little parallel there with Goodfellas, because that saying has come from Goodfellas. So it's a fun term that nobody has ever really coined, I should say, besides the movie that we all know of. And I just applied it legitimately to this industry. How's that for an answer?
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you.
That would make a great tattoo too.
And it's truthful. So he's being truthful so far.
Yes.
I should feel confident with those answers so far.
Yeah, it's a truthful answer. I
That was a
promise.
great question to start with, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, Kris, that would actually make a great tattoo.
It would. Are you willing to get that on you, Tim?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Okay.
not.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we had an employee here that did put it on them. So yeah, I won't mention any names, but somebody did.
It's true. I
it
have,
is
the,
true.
Really?
I have the photographic
Yeah,
evidence.
it's a classic Vegas story.
Oh gosh.
Ew.
We'll
And-
send a picture out so you can see it.
Well, there is actual video too.
It was an intern. And we took everybody out for NACLB, as I always do, the staff that help out. And he goes, Kris, what can I do to be a better member of the team? And we all had drinks in us. And I said,
Oh,
well,
no.
to start with, would you tattoo "fuck you, pay me" on a certain body part? And he goes, really? And I go, yeah. I go, that's what you have to do. And he goes, I'm in. And I said, really? I said, don't, I'm not bluffing here. And he goes, no, I'm not bluffing either. So literally from the dinner table, we walked over we looked up on our phones, the first tattoo salon, which happened to be in a casino. And we walked in and he literally got "fuck you, pay me" on his butt. And the funny thing is
Hashtag.
and the funny thing is, talk about a loyal employee. The funny thing is, he's sitting in the chair and the lady's up there, the tattoo artist, and she's going through, she's like, what type of font do you want? And I go, well, I don't care about the font, but, and she goes, well, right now, you know, he told me to put it on size 12. I go, no, we're upping that to size 16. So we upped the font to size 16. You know about it. You had no idea that we upped the
You are lying.
No.
No.
No, swear to God.
And he still works there?
Oh, he's the
Absolutely.
best. Yeah, he's in the office next to me. Yeah.
Scott, isn't it?
He actually got his full-time job after that.
No.
Yeah, it was a pave to the.
Now,
I mean,
the next
I offered this kid $1,000 to get Quicklime Capital, but above in bigger font, he wouldn't do it.
the next morning, I told him, as I have many tattoos, I said, well, now you got to take care of that. And so he said, can I take a quick look? I want to see what you got going on here. And so, you know, we went in
my
the room.
gosh.
And in a stall, it was empty, by the way. I made sure it was empty. We were in a stall, and I'm looking. Now you've got to put some lotion on this. Or something.
So, by the way, and hold on for that second. I happen to walk into the bathroom while they're in the stall, and all I hear him say is, "You got to put some lotion on that."
Yeah.
I didn't know it was those guys.
I'm alone, and I'm in the stall with him, and then I hear the door open. I go, "Oh no, Luke!" I said, "Oh no!" Thank God it was Scott and Thor.
Yeah.
And the running joke here is, you know, the other cheek is free and clear. So there's still some real estate to be taken there.
Like a billboard.
Yeah. That's a great question, though, Shane. Way to open it up.
You bet.
All right. Well,
Scott, who do you think should go next?
Why don't we look at Tim's just got a grin on waiting. So why don't we go to Ben Looney?
How would your employees describe you?
oh, man. How would my employees describe me? Well,
Hmm.
the ones that are here or not here?
The ones that are not with you in this room right now.
And not on the call. How would they describe me? I think two words: tough, but driven.
True.
Tough, I guess. Three words: tough, driven, and fair.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yep, very true.
You guys are probably saying that because you're on this call. Who knows?
No.
Yeah, I would say tough.
Answer.
You know, we run a tough shop. When I say we run a tough shop, we run a I run a business where everybody's accountable. There's a lot of load on everybody, but everybody, chips in and does their fair share, but does get rewarded. And I like to believe I'm fair, and I demand a lot out of everybody, but you know, in the end, I think it proves that, you know, in terms of the results of what everybody produces here. So one fact is we have very little turnover. So I think that says something. If people didn't like me, I don't think they'd be here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, work hard, play hard. That's true.
That's true. And it's kind of like a family. It really is.
It is like a family.
Yeah.
We laugh together, we cry together, we yell at each other, we get over it quickly. Some people don't get over as quickly as others, but yeah, we're kind of like a family. That's exactly what it is here. And like you guys are like the cousins of the family, right?
Except Tim.
We're always
He's the weird uncle.
We're always
We're like cousin Eddie. You never want to see us, you know. Just show up.
We're always producing children.
Kimmy, go ahead. If you got a question, fire away.
There you go.
I thought about this, and I was going to ask you who your most annoying student was and why, but then I thought twice about it. I don't think maybe I shouldn't ask that question. I want to know about the Forbes magazine interview.
The Forbes magazine interview. Okay. There was a contest, not a contest, but they had a poll to kind of so I've done some contributions to Forbes, right? Where they'd call me up and say, hey, on a certain topic or what's going on, what's your opinion? How is it going to affect small business positively or negatively? And one day I got a call from a person that I deal with there, and they go, hey, you should, you know, nominate yourself for this category. And the category was, I believe it was like it was by state. They did like most innovative entrepreneurs by state. And I, you know, nominated myself, and they ask you, you know, your companies, what do your companies do? How many people you employ? Various questions. And I submitted a not so much of an application, but submitted like whatever they asked me to submit it at the time. And I was picked for one of them, and they interviewed me, and the rest is history. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's
neat.
It's neat to walk into the classroom and see that. Just wondered how it. I said it's neat to walk into class and see that hanging on the wall, and just wonder what the back history of it was.
You know what's funny is they actually sent that to me, the plaque, and Jack Ma was on the cover of Forbes that month, and you know, and actually I have it hanging up in my house too, and people walk in and they're like, well, you know, Forbes article, and they go, we thought you were on the cover of Forbes. You know, like that's not you. You're not Chinese. And I'm like, no. There was a little article that, you know, that they did on me, and I wasn't on the cover, of course. So
yeah, it's a cool article.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Timmy, floor is yours.
Did you just call me Timmy?
I'm sorry, Mr. Maloney.
Well, that's better. So, Kris, you'll have to forgive me because I had to connect with my phone. I was having trouble with my camera earlier, so I'm going to flip over. But I have a two-part question. The first is, the first is, you know, seriously, look, you teach all of us, and I think you did a great job. But, you know, often I wonder, does this guy really know what a deal is? And as you know, I have become quite an incredible fix and flip lender / commercial real estate lender. And I have a deal, and it's funny because it's ironically enough, it's in your neck of the woods that I wanted you to look at. And, you know, you tell us if you think it's a deal or not, you know, because there's that expression, you know, those who can't do teach. Right. And I'm hoping that you can maybe debunk that little thing. So forgive me again, I'm on my phone, so I want to see if I can flip over to the picture that I wanted. Are you seeing? Oh, sorry, I left Tinder open.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean that. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Why can't I find the other picture here? Shit. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Kris. Kris, I get a call from this guy in the capital region. He's got this like rundown fixer-upper. To make matters worse, it's got this really gaudy interior, like a lot of gold leaf,
A lot of gold. I've seen this one.
A lot of
Yeah,
gold.
Murano glass everywhere. I mean, you know, the Italian toilet faucets.
Joe, pull the plug.
Yeah.
Joe. Plug.
Pull the plug on me. And the worst part is that there's a few junk cars that are on the property too. The guy's got a credit in the mid 500s and only about $4,000. Is this a deal for a flip?
It depends on what the collateral is, Tim.
Well, you're looking at it. I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is.
I mean, what's the commission on this?
Not enough. And this might be the last deal I fund, so let me go back. And I have another question for you, and it's a serious one. You can turn off my screen share now before you guys see something you really didn't need to see. So, you know, Kris, obviously, you know, before I make every huge business
Is this a roast? Is that what this is?
No, I don't care what anybody else thinks it is. I think it's a roast.
That idea was floated and it was shot down. We shot down that idea.
Yeah, well, I didn't. So, Kris, in all seriousness, before every major business decision, as you know, I reach out to you. And, you know, the last time I sought your counsel, it turned out to be probably the best advice I've ever had business-wise in my life. You know, I think everybody on this call looks up to you, and I think that we all value your insight.
Great first round, guys. Shane, you want to kick off the second round?
Sure, yeah. So keeping it cleaner this time. But obviously, Kris, you've experienced, you know, you're self-made, but a tremendous amount of success. I know you've worked like crazy to get what you're at. Now you're passing it on to everybody. But let's say that today, all of that went away. You lost all of it, your companies, you know, your personal wealth, all the things that you've been able to accomplish in that sense. What would you do tomorrow?
I would start from ground zero. And, you know, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I mean, I dropped out of college, right? I only had a little less than a year of college before I dropped out. And so I don't know anything else, if that makes sense. So God forbid if something were to happen out of my control, of course, and everything went away, my instinct would kick in, and it's still there, because I don't know, maybe I've spoken to a lot of you, maybe you've heard through the training, but I had a kind of a very, what I call a rough upbringing. You know, I lived in a shelter for a number of years, and I saw a lot of poverty, and maybe I've spoken to some of you guys on this podcast, but there's something I actually talked about this with Joe Theismann, you know, one of the great motivators that we had at our training. Joe came over to my house for dinner and we were talking, and I told Joe right in the face, I go, I don't believe you can motivate people. You can't motivate people. It's either you have it or you don't. And I went to tell Joe a story that when I was in, and I apologize if you guys have heard this already, but I'm giving you a long-winded answer to your question. When I was in fourth grade, I was living in a shelter, and I remember I still had to go to school, and I had a pair of sneakers on, and I felt something in my shoes. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I was in the front of the class, so keep that in mind. I took off my shoe, and a bunch of roaches fell out on the ground because the shelter was very, very dirty. And kids laughed at me. I mean, it's fourth grade, right? I mean, kids are terrible during that age. And there was a little roaches running around the floor that were in my shoe. And I never forgot that. And so when I say I never forgot that, that's that internal fire. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how successful you are. That keeps me from not being complacent, right? And so I'm always trying to do new things and introduce new things. And that's like the internal fire in me. And I have not lost that, because I'm always fearful of going back to that place. Does that make sense? And so that's where I always say, I don't think all the motivators out there, the Cardones, even the Joe Theismanns, and Joe really didn't like, he kind of, to be honest with you, to be candid, Joe didn't like my statement because he's in the business of motivational speaking, right? And I think he has great points, but I don't believe even you could hear the greatest motivational speech. You either have it or you don't, right? And if you don't have it, there has to be something that happens in your life that causes you to go to that primal survival instinct and do what you got to do in order to get things done. So a long-winded answer to your question. If everything went away, that instinct is still there, and it would just burn greater to, you know, scratch and crawl and kind of start all over again, because I'm a trier. I don't give up. I just keep doing it until I physically can't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go ahead, Ben.
Most treasured possession. What is it?
Joe Schaefer.
Yay. Most treasured possession. Some materialistic stuff,
Yes.
you would say? Materialistic stuff. Well, this is going to sound weird, but I'll tell you another story. You know, growing up to make ends meet, my father, he would do these, I don't know if you remember telling you in class, but he'd do these gun shows. And he was like, you know, he's kind of like a hustler. He'd do a lot of different things to make ends meet. And we would do these gun shows. And so I used to travel around with him every week, set up these gun shows. We'd go to schools and armories, and they'd have, ironically, it was in schools back then, school gymnasiums, but I would help him, you know, set up these big tables, and he'd sell hunting rifles and collectible firearms. And I never forget it. He went to an estate sale, and he got this, this like bird gun. It's a shotgun, and it's actually called a Parker. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a Parker, but Parkers were only made in the 1920s in the area of the Great Depression. And then they closed up shop after the Great Depression. But it was a high-end luxury shotgun for very, very wealthy individuals. Like back then, the guns were like a couple $1,000s in 1920s money. And so he got this from an estate sale, beautiful engraving. And it was on there. And I never forget it. One time, this real rich looking guy, and I was only about like 8 years old, came into the gun show, and he had two assistants with him, and he was walking around. They were walking behind him. He was dressed to a T with a suit, and he walked up to my father, and he's talking to him. And all of a sudden, I see them talking for about 10, 15 minutes. And all of a sudden he picks up this gun. Now, me as a kid, I thought this gun was the coolest thing ever. Right. I mean, I never wanted my father to sell it because I knew how much it was worth. And this was back when I was 8. And I just loved polishing the gun, and like I loved taking it out. And when I took it out, other gun dealers would come by and like be in awe of it. So all of a sudden, I see my father, and this guy is handling the gun, and nobody ever handled it because they couldn't afford it. Typical people that came into this show. And this person is looking at the gun, and all of a sudden he points to 2 other guns. And I went up to my father. My father comes over, and he goes, this person's buying these 3 guns. And it was a huge sale. I mean, probably one of the biggest sales my father would have had. And so he goes and he whips out cash, and I broke my heart because I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh my God, this gun is finally going to sell. And he had it for years and years. The guy took out cash, and he just started counting hundreds. And it turns out he only had enough cash on him. And it was a Sunday for the 2 guns, but not the big one. Right. And he goes to my father. He goes, my father said, well, just come back tomorrow. And he goes, no, my plane, he had a private plane. He goes, my plane is leaving tonight to go overseas. And he goes, do you take credit cards? And my father didn't take credit cards at the time. My father goes, well, no, I don't take credit cards. And I remember my father even went so much to ask another gun dealer who took credit cards to see if he could run it through his terminal. And back then it wasn't digital. It was just like, you know, scan it. And they said, no, they wouldn't let him do it. And so my father lost out on that big sale because the guy didn't have enough money. And so fast forward about a couple years ago, you know, my father, as my birthday's on Christmas, and I always have him over, and all the kids come over, all the my nephews and nieces. And my father presented me this box, and he goes, here, I want you to have this. And I had no idea what it was. And, you know, I opened up the box, and here is the gun. And he goes, and the connection with my father is a real hard ass dude. I mean, he's I told you guys, he's a Marine, a Korean War veteran. He's a real hard ass, but he never really showed a lot of emotion. But what struck me, and I get so emotional talking about it, because when he presented it to me, he goes, I remember that day of how upset you were that I was going to sell that gun. And I didn't think he even knew how upset I was. Right. But he observed that, and he goes, I know how special this is to you. He goes, I want you to have this. Right. And he gave me the gun. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, Ben. I have it today, and I'm going to pass it on to my children and tell them that story, and that's it.
Cool.
Great. Yeah. Great story. Kimmy, you're up.
Speaking of your children, I know that they are younger, but do you think they'll follow in your footsteps?
That's a great question. Probably my daughter, not my son. And I say that because my daughter she is a tough son of a bitch. I mean, she has that mindset. She's very opportunistic. She looks at scenarios and is very my son could care less. He's happy-go-lucky. He's going to be the playboy of the family. I think he's just like Joe Cool. Like but my daughter is all business. She's all business. And another funny story. One day I brought my daughter into the office, and she was running around, and she went into a random employee's office, and she goes, "Who are you?" And they said, "Oh, hi, I'm so-and-so." And it's this cute little girl. And she goes, "So you work for my daddy?" And they go, "Yes." And she goes, "So that means you'll be working for me someday."
Oh, good for her. Good for her. Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that my daughter Gianna. So that would be, I would hope she would. I would love for one of my children to follow in the footsteps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Mr. Maloney?
Well, I'm almost afraid to ask a question. I mean, how long is this answer? How long is this answer going to go? But, I mean, holy shit, this guy can talk a statue to tears. Look.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you very much. Kris, everybody, we all set goals for ourselves, whether it's a year, 3-year goal, 5-year goal. What's your stretch goal currently?
For a stretch goal, like a 5-10-year plan?
Not necessarily 5 or 10-year plan, just like give me something that you're striving for now that you haven't accomplished yet.
A great question. I've been saying this for years now, but it seems like an endless goal, but it's really to further progress the association, the NACLB. It's a tough order to do. A very tough order to do, because what I learned is when you start an association, a lot of times the association has to have multiple people to give input, which I get. But the reason why we've excelled so quickly in the last 5-6 years is because there's very few people making decisions. So I struggle with that, right? Because the other associations that are out there, they have 10, 15 person committees, and everybody has to vote on to make a decision. The problem is, just like anything, right? Just like what our government's going through now, it's a long, dragged out process and nothing ever gets done. So we've been kind of, there's a couple of people that make decisions. And so we've been struggling to kind of further develop that into something that, is greater than everybody here on this call. So it's the progression of that association. That's the long, to further develop it and hopefully keep you off the board. That's what we're.
Well, hey, listen, thank you for the brevity on that reply.
Hey, Tim, one thing I have to say is,
Shut up.
Yeah,
he's another one of these keyboard tough guys. I come up to Albany, he doesn't have anything to say ever.
Wait. I got one more for you, Tim. One more.
Shut up.
Wait. All right, that's all I have.
Awesome. Great second round. Shane, you're up. What do you got?
Well, is this, how many rounds are we doing? Can I ask?
This is our last.
Joe cuts us off.
Okay, this will be it.
This is our last round. Yeah.
All right, cool. So kind of a deep question, I guess, but, there's a dash in between your birthday and the day you depart. What do you want people to say about you? How do you want them to fill that dash, or what do you want them to say about Kris, after your last day?
Good question.
Man. I guess not to remember what I mean, this is kind of it is a good question, but it's weird. Talking to myself.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I guess people that I've helped, and I just don't mean like through CCTG, but I do a fair amount of charity. I throw on events for charity, and so just to remember giving back. I think that's important, and I've beat this thought to death, but as you guys know, I really model myself. I try to, even though I'll never get there, but I try to model myself through Andrew Carnegie, and he gave, at the end of his life, he gave everything back. And so most people don't even know, like millennials today, you ask them, you ever heard of Andrew Carnegie? And they go, no, but I know there's like Carnegie Hall. Is that anything to do with Carnegie Hall? Or some people say most people don't know a lot of libraries in your town were actually built with his money, like the old school libraries, because he gave back in that manner. So I would say just to remember, not what I have or accumulated, but remember, I guess, kind of giving back and, giving back something greater than myself or anybody. Yeah.
Good one.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Love it.
Go ahead, Ben.
Describe your typical day.
Typical day?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's 2:50. He just got here 22 minutes ago.
Right.
Just kidding.
For starters.
I'm kidding.
So typical day, I get up about 5:30. I check emails, take a shower, get dressed, get out the door. I'm usually, in the office. I got an hour drive to the office. I'm usually in the office by 7:30, 8 o'clock, and just stick to the grind. Work till about 5, 6 o'clock, go home, be with my children. After my children go to bed, surprisingly, I put another 2 to 3 hours of work in.
He does. Yeah. You're going to get texts and emails if you're working here from Kris.
Yeah. So my children go to bed at
Or a phone call.
Yeah, my children go to bed at right around 9:30. And after that's done, I'm working for another 2 or 3 hours, and I usually go to bed about 12:30, maybe 1 a.m. and I wake up at 5 o'clock again. So I only get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, but my body's accustomed to it. I haven't had any problems yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm older. Take it from me. Get some sleep.
Go ahead, Kimmy.
By the way, Ben, I love that shirt. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
I just noticed it.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the one thing that makes you the happiest? Whether it's business or personal, or a combination of both.
Honestly, I'll tell you, the one thing that makes me happiest is when I hear, two things. Giving back. I think there's no greater feeling than giving back. We kind of talked about that. I won't belabor that point, but when I hear about you guys succeeding, to be honest with you, I know that's maybe seems like a typical answer, but I mean, Kimmy, I walked in here, I heard you were closing a deal with Terry Luker, right? I mean, Terry Luker was funding a deal for you guys. That makes me happy because there's no greater feeling, because here you are, helping somebody that before you took this opportunity, they may have not have gotten that deal done. And so when Tim Maloney, when, we all know here, Tim doesn't brag, right? Tim never brags, right? But when he says he closes 15, 20 deals a month and is fix and flips, that's 15 to 20 people that he's helping that normally, he's helping people with their dreams. So that is a very satisfying feeling to me. And that's why I love hearing from graduates when they're doing deals or closing deals, because that's a good feeling. Not only are you kind of working towards your dream, but you're helping other people in the process. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Tim, in closing.
Tim, I've been busting your chops, by the way. I want to let you know I love you because you bust my chops too. That's why I'm here.
No, Joe, listen, it's perfectly fine, but I think that I should, maybe explain myself a little bit to you.
Please do.
Shut up.
No, just kidding.
That's not me, Tim, by the way.
No, it's not. It's totally me, dude.
Did you hear that sound effect or no? Damn.
I didn't hear yours. I heard mine.
No, seriously, I'm not gonna crack anybody's head open. And Kris, I'll forgive you for spitting out some 2018 type deal numbers, attributing them to Quickline Capital.
2018 numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're thinking of me. You think so little of me. Surprised they even made it onto this thing. No, I don't have any questions. So, hey, look,
Is that a
that
sympathy,
little-
buddy? Out of sympathy.
that little fix and flip, every month, I talk to Kris at least once a month, and every month I sort of drop a little hint. Hey, man, when's the next time you're having that poker game? This guy's never inviting me to his house for a poker game. It's just not going to happen.
I haven't had one. I haven't had one, honestly. I mean,
No, but I was thinking about it too.
Just social distancing
That's
here.
right.
Come on.
Yeah, no, believe me. The other thing is too, I'm not so sure I want to walk into this house with like 18 Italian guys, and it's me, the one Irish guy. Got more of those gold horns and shit hanging out. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys must save a bundle though, because none of you have to pay for top buttons on your shirts.
Hey,
The guy who takes that title is Mr. John Cosentino.
Yeah,
As the night progresses, a button becomes undone every hour. So by the time then,
yeah, but he starts at 3. He starts with 3 buttons down already.
Yeah.
He starts.
Oh, Kris, it was just all in good fun. I did have a lot more stuff to roast you, but Joe was really nervous before this started, thinking he was going to have to edit and cut and everything.
Listen, I'm trying to get 15 more years out of my job here. That's all. Come on.
Yeah, you're probably not going to do really well interrupting your guests, Mr. Moderator. But anyway, from all of us, Kris, thank you. Happy birthday. And, that's awesome. Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, guys, I'd like to say something. So who's been the longest here? You, Tim? How many years have you been in this business?
A little over 5.
Wow.
So you're not on 6 years yet, right?
Not quite.
Okay, so and I hate to spoil this for Kimmy, Shane, and Ben, but just so you know, in the contracts you guys signed, there's a little part in there where it says if you reach 6 years in this business, you got to split the commissions with CCTG.
Buddy, my attorney wiped his ass with your contract.
No, but but Tim, the contract comes with a sound effect.
Oh, okay. At least it's a good sound.
Wait. Remember what we said at the beginning of this?
No.
What's that?
Fuck you, pay me.
Exactly.
I'll just retake the course. That's it.
Exactly.
That's what I'll do.
No, honestly, guys, thank you. This was a pleasure. Ben, always good seeing you. Is there anything you want to say? I'm going to go to each of you. Anything?
Yeah, parting words. Let's do parting words.
Parting words.
I got nothing but happy birthday, and
thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity, and of course what you've provided for us, and the continued support and doing stuff like this.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Kimmy?
Just thank you as always. I think that I will always be in debt to you and the company and what you guys have been able to do for us. And we just keep growing the family. I love the family environment. I love talking to the prospective grads that are going to come in and bragging about the program. Tim and I talk a lot. So it's a fun environment. I love it. I love the flip the script. I think it's great. It's fun. It's laid back, but it is work hard, play hard. So
yeah,
it's a cool environment.
It is. Yeah, no, thank you. Shane? Don't worry, Tim. I'm saving the best for last, Tim. Don't worry. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm last, by the way, Tim. That makes me last.
To echo everybody else, just thank you, Kris. I mean, I truly love what I'm doing, and you were a gateway to that, I guess. And thank you for everything that you and your company represent, and the force that you are to further this industry. I appreciate it, and I think everybody on this call absolutely does. And the hundreds of other people that have been through your thousands at this point, I don't even know, that have been through your program. And happy birthday, have a Merry Christmas and a great holiday season, and see you in 2021.
NACLB, hopefully, everybody. We're live now, for sure. Tim, we said it all. No. You guys said it all. You've shown it all. You've shown screenshots of things. I mean, man, you're one.
Hey, listen, the one thing, your goal of, furthering the NACLB, I think that we on this call are evidence of what that sort of progression, right? I've spoken with Shane individually. Obviously, I speak with Kimmy individually, Scotty, Joe, and just recently Ben and I connected outside of this so that hopefully we can lean on each other. And there's a ton of that going on, Kris. So much of it that you could probably never know. Look, in time, I think that legislation and licensing is going to clean up this industry from, sort of the more questionable character brokers out there. It's going to take time, but I think the industry has already taken a huge first step.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you. And as I said, we wouldn't be successful if you guys, weren't successful. So I appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing. And, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Joe,
Scott,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Chris.
God, do you have anything you want to say real quick?
Just want to thank everybody for coming on in short notice. I know I didn't have to sell it real hard. I just said we're going to put Kris in a hot seat, and everybody said yes.
Yeah.
They didn't even think twice. So it was a pretty easy sell, and looking forward to hopefully doing it again next year at this time. Timmy, Ben, Shane, Kimmy, thank you guys. Kris, always a pleasure. And I'm glad you said yes to this, because by far this has probably been one of the funnest podcasts that we've done as a group. So it was really cool.
I if I knew Tim was on, I would have said no, but I didn't.
Hey, we can make sure he's not on the next one. That's all. No, I'm just kidding, Tim. Just kidding.
I know.
Thanks.
Well, look, the next time I'm up in Albany, I promise you'll be doing nothing but looking down at your shoes when you see me come in.
I know. No, I'm already nervous. I really am already nervous about
For those of you who don't know on a podcast, I do stand 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, a former Marine.
Yeah,
and actually, by the way, I like fighting. So, hey, I'll see you in a little while.
Oh, man. Kris, I'm going to be out that day. Put in my 2 weeks notice.
He spoke like a typical Irishman.
That's right.
That's right. Very good. Hey, thanks, everybody. Hey, thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for helping me out with this, Scott.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Happy birthday,
Kris.
I still love you, Joe.
And I love you too. And just like everybody here is saying thank you, Kris, I just want to say thanks from the employees on our side. Merry Christmas and happy birthday.
Happy
Absolutely.
birthday.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
See y'all later.
Great Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. People always say, Kris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words: hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business.